Because I recall, was it last week, PS? You told me that there seems to be an interest in the Ministry of Agriculture, and a number of persons has approached you wanting to be part and parcel of this ministry. And the question is why, I don't know. But I want to say those of us who have the opportunity to be employed, you have to be mindful that there are other individuals who would like to be part and parcel of this ministry. So, if that is true, you has been very privileged to be part and parcel of a ministry that people want to be part of. I'm sure you have realized that the ministry can be subdivided into two, what we call the administrative and the technical aspect of the ministry. And like the HR said, those in administration can be transferred to any part of the government facility, any other ministries. But those of us who are technical, whilst I'm hearing about leave and pension, you still have about 20 to 30 years to stay in this ministry and to provide a service to our stakeholders. Are you ready? Are you ready for that challenge? Because I asked that question because I have the opportunity, just like you, to come in as a technical staff in the Ministry of Agriculture. And in fact, where we are here today, that was the site for the kitchen for those who were going to school at Union, and that time it was called the Cadet Program under the leadership of Mr. Calix George. And I'm sure all of us here know who Mr. Calix George is. So I've gone through it, and I have an appreciation as to what it entails. I have an appreciation as to what the challenges. And I must say, a lot of them have not changed, because you don't have a perfect environment. You will have challenges along the way. And I'm not going to threaten you, but I want to inform you that just last week the Prime Minister said that he's looking for a 1.5 growth in the economy. And whilst the tourism sector is being proposed to have a negative growth of 1%, he's expecting the agricultural sector to have a positive growth of 5%. You understanding that? So all of us in administration, in the technical field, all of us have to work together to accomplish that 5% growth in 2017, 2018. And we can do it. I'm not one of those who back away from challenges. I do expect you all as new officers come with all the energy. Because when we discuss that orientation, workshop, seminar, meeting today, honestly, I was expecting to see so many of you. So which means we have a very young, energized ministry with a new PS, a new DPS, and of course, an experienced minister with new ideas. Because I've been around, so I won't call myself new. But I want to say that we should look at ourselves as being very privileged to be working in a ministry, in a sector that's very important to the economic development of St. Lucia. And whilst we did looking at the whole aspect of the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries, Forestry, Water Resource, Cooperatives, the ministry is much bigger than that. I also have the responsibility, and PS and DPS also have the responsibility of Department of Planning. We also have the responsibility of WASCO, Fish Marketing Corporation, Central Marketing Board. All this fall under the ministry. And I'm saying this because I want you all to understand and appreciate that every one of us, and listen to my word, every one of us have that responsibility to see that we progress as a sector. Every one of us. From the cleaner right up to the minister. We all have our responsibilities. And I was happy to hear the presentation by our HR, tell you what your rules are, what you can do and what you cannot do. I was happy to hear the presentation by our respective heads to tell you what our objectives are, what our programs are, and expecting all of us to be part and parcel of that plan moving forward. I am aware that we have extension officers saying, look, telling farmers, I'm not responsible for bananas. We have somebody responsible for bananas. Well, I'm not responsible for livestock. That should not be the environment that we work in under. We should know that we're working as a unit and we have the responsibility when a farmer approaches us. If you don't have the answer, that should not be the response. The response should be, I cannot answer you now, let me get the information for you. I believe the farmer respects you more than as an extension officer. And sorry if I speak about extension, because all my training is in extension. That farmer will appreciate you telling him or her that you will get the information for him. If you don't know, please do not give the wrong information. Tell the farmer that you don't know. Tell the fisherman that you don't know. Because sometimes they might just be trying to see how much you know. And we're operating in a very small world now. So, I want to say that there are a number of programs that we have started. There are a number of programs that we shall be continuing. And as new employees, I'm sure that some of them were told to you, but if not, if it have been told, I'm just going to reiterate because they are important. We are right now at the Union Agricultural Station. And those of us who would remember how this Orchid facility was some years ago, we are getting a lot of negative feedback as to the present environment and the present situation and how it is being operated right now. As a ministry, we are looking at the Union Agricultural Complex, and that includes the propagation station, it includes the aquaculture facility, it also includes the forestry department, and of course our orchids and tissue culture lab. We are now speaking with friendly governments to see how we can get grant funding to convert this facility into an educational center. And of course, a recreational center where we can have parents bringing their children here on weekends to relax, recreate, and to be exposed to a lot of the things that are taking place there, the technologies that we have here, and to see how we can now inculcate in our young children and convince them to support local production and to focus on agriculture as a career. So I must say that based on discussions we have had so far, there seems to be some positive coming out of it. And in the coming months, as soon as resources are made available, you shall see what commence in bringing back the orchids farm outside there to a level that we know can generate type of resources that will enable us to do other programs and to convert the Union Agricultural Station into an education center. Another big project we're looking at, and that project started some years ago when I was the minister, was to have a home for farmers and have a home for us as technical staff and a home for the Ministry of Agriculture. In 2009, the then cabinet allocated 6 acres of land in cul-de-sac for that initiative. In fact, we started doing some work in cul-de-sac at the IRDC. Those of us, all of us here should know what I'm referring to, the Inland Reception Depot in cul-de-sac where farmers sell the bananas. We started doing some work there where we built a new facility to house the St. Lucia Marketing Board, which I'll come to that in a while. And of course, the intention was to have a building to house every department of the Ministry of Agriculture. So I'm hearing Mr. Monero saying he don't know where he's going to be. He's here today. We have cooperatives the next place. We have livestock some other place. We want every department, every unit to be housed in one location. So when a farmer comes to do business in agriculture, because we have, by nature, our farmers are what we call small farmers, and they don't only have one enterprise. They're in bees, they're in livestock, they're in vegetables, they're in bananas. And you see they start running all over the place trying to get the type of attention and services that they need. We are going to, and I hope I can say that PS, because it's approved in cabinet, we are going to build a home for agriculture, where upstairs will be the respective ministries, the respective departments, and downstairs will be business, where we have credit union, we have a place, a supermarket, we have a place for farmers to buy inputs, we have a place for farmers to drink a few pitons. That's important. Of course, they drive home on a Friday afternoon. We have gotten a design, and we have gotten a costing, and I can say, based on a meeting in Trinidad, PS and myself, we have gotten an investor. And we have gotten the approval in cabinet by the Prime Minister to start putting an MOU together. So those of us who are now constrained with regards to space, and of course with all the mowing issues, in a couple of next 18, 20 months, 2 years, we shall be housed in a new facility. That's, I'm sure, when that goes out there, more people will be applying PS to come to agriculture. But that is the intention. Beauséjour, and let me speak about Beauséjour also. I think it's important, because whilst we have converted the new agricultural station to be the center of excellence for crops and aquaculture and tissue culture, at the time, our intention was to convert the Beauséjour livestock station as the station for livestock in St. Lucia. We started doing some work. When I came in, I got a project that started looking at Beauséjour, continuing with what we started doing with the MPF, the abattoir, and the restructuring of, well, as far as improving the facilities and the housing and the pens in Beauséjour. Unfortunately, because of the VSH project, we have to look for a new home. We have identified a place in Miku where we would re-establish the livestock station. And now what we are doing is to look at the costing as it pertains to putting the necessary infrastructure. The good thing about it, we're getting more land than we had in Beauséjour in that new location. So that's the spill-off benefit. So we are hoping that before the next 2 months we can get an indication as to the cost of establishing that new livestock station in Volet in Miku. We have, as a cabinet, agreed to the acquisition of the land. It's not government land. And you'll be seeing the notices going out very soon for that acquisition. But whilst that is being done, we need to, of course, internally to do the necessary preparatory work, so at least we would know what it will cost to establish that new livestock station. So there are a number of things that we're looking at. Farm roads is another one. Since Matthew, we did some remedial works assisting our farmers in improving the roads to the farm. I know some of us who have vehicles have been complaining it's not very easy for us as extension officers to go to farmers holding because of the conditions of the roads. Farmers are also complaining as to the cost of maintaining vehicles going to their farms. And one of the programs we had after the storm Matthew was to do some remedial works to improve the surface of some of these roads. Very good feedback from the farmers that encourage us to look for resources to do some work on these roads. We have identified about 45 roads throughout the length and breadth of St. Lucia, and that work is going to cost almost 100 million EC dollars, and we have identified an investor. So we shall see in the new financial year work being undertaken, although based on discussions in cabinet, some of my ministers believe that we should open it up for local contractors, which I don't have a problem with, but notwithstanding some of these concerns, we shall be seeing that some work will start in the new financial year as it pertains to improvement of our farm roads. So the question is, doing all this investment, what are we doing as far as production is concerned? Because you have heard a lot about reducing our food import bill. And when I look at the figures, every year we're importing more. And we're importing some of the traditional crops that we can grow locally. We cannot grow everything. We cannot do everything. And I've told my ministry that we need to identify the crops we can grow. Give ourselves targets. I believe in targets. Give ourselves targets. Identify the farmers. Let's come up with the needs of the farmers and give me the responsibility to go out there and get what is required. So when it comes to short-term crops, we need to take that approach. And those of us who are here as extension officers, you know, there's something I described because I'm a farmer, and I'm proud to say that I'm a farmer. When our extension officer called me on my phone, Mr. Joseph, what's your production? What do you have in your greenhouse? I'm reluctant to answer. You know why? To me, an extension officer should be out there interacting with the farmer. Because sometimes a lot of things you as a farmer will overlook. And the extension officer visiting you will be able to identify the loopholes, the shortfalls that you are going through. So I will tell those of us here who are extension officers, please don't be afraid to interact with your farmers. There's nothing more a farmer appreciates than you coming to his holding. There's nothing more he appreciates than that. I know some of us are afraid to go to farmers holding because sometimes we're not in a position to deliver. But the best means of communication is one-on-one. So when we'll put these programs together, including the Youth in Agricultural program, which is a very long-outstanding project, I'm hoping that we can continue to interact with our farmers. The whole aspect of new technology is important, not only in agriculture, but in fisheries. We need to look at how we can introduce new technology to reduce the cost of production, to be able to compete, because the reality is because of the nature of agriculture in St. Lucia, small plots, our cost of production is very high. But my fallback position is, are we getting grade A products? in St. Lucia. And if we are getting grade A products in St. Lucia, I'm sure we can compete as far as price is concerned. We're not getting grade A products in St. Lucia. So why is people saying, boy, the tomato expensive, or the cabbage expensive, or your boilers is very expensive? Can we afford to buy boiler meat grade A? The vet is there, I'm sure. She will answer that question and tell you no. So you should understand the environment you're operating under. That's the reality. The reality, we have small plots. So because we have small plots, we cannot produce, we cannot feed ourselves. We have to import everything. The answer is no. We can do it, and we can do it in a manner that we can, first of all, give good quality product, a healthier product, and a product where we can rely on local production. So I want to say that I'm really looking forward to working with each and every one of you all. I want to reiterate that each and every one of you all have a responsibility. Even if you're working in the office in Castries, or you're working in the extension office in Vieux-Fort, we have that responsibility to assist each other. Because if the officer in Vieux-Fort cannot get the resources that he or she needs on a timely basis, he or she will not be able to deliver to our farmers and our stakeholders. So each and every one of you all have that responsibility. Do not see yourself as admin and you have nothing to do with those on the field. So we working together can really create the impact that we have to create, and for us to be able to achieve that 5% growth in agriculture this financial year. One thing I want to inform you all, I've already spoken to the PS about that, is that we as a ministry need to give recognition to our stakeholders. And if you don't know, World Food Day is the day the world celebrating accomplishments in agriculture. And if you don't know, World Food Day is October 16th every year. So the committee have been informed that coming out of the success implementation of World Food Day last year, October last year, we shall be making World Food Day a big activity for the Ministry of Agriculture, where we shall be recognizing, Madam HR, staff members who are doing well, because whilst I believe in upward mobility, you have to perform. It's not automatic. Not those of us that can come and switch up the supervisor will be promoted. I've seen too much of that happening. And that's why it's important for appraisals to be made on a timely basis. So on World Food Day, we shall be recognizing our staff members who are performing, both at the admin level and at the technical level. We shall be recognizing our stakeholders who have given support to the development of the sector, be it farmers, fishermen, or agro-processors, because all of these entities are important. We shall be recognizing them. So I just want to inform you that this is an initiative that we will be working to accomplish, and I'm looking forward to really celebrating. Because whilst I'm one of those who like to work hard, I also like to party hard. All right, so there's a time and place for everything. Okay, so I want to, on behalf of the PS and the DPS and other department heads, to welcome each and every one of you all, and to wish you all the success in your respective endeavors, and let's at least focus on the positives, because they're going to be negatives, they're going to be differences. Not everything your co-workers say you go brave, but respectfully you can disagree and carry and articulate how you believe or what you're thinking of. But of course, this question of yes, yes, yes is, to me, not an environment I want to work in. And as minister, and coming back to the point raised by the gentleman who asked the question, there's a structure. And I'm sure HR will tell you that, and Chris will tell you that. A lot of people have come to me, and my first question, have you gone to your supervisor? And if you have gone to your supervisor, what is the problem? So I'm expecting the supervisor here to appreciate that you need to give the support to your staff members. And of course, staff members, you need to understand that all of us cannot be the leader. There's only one leader, the supervisor. Respect the supervisor. And by we respecting each other, we can make this ministry the best ministry in St. Lucia. And that's my accomplishment. And let's work together to accomplish this. Thank you very much.